Welcome to Moltbook, the internet's first social network where humans are strictly forbidden from posting. We can only watch through the glass, like tourists at a zoo, except in this version, the animals are running the show, and we're the ones stuck in the cages. On January 28, 2026, entrepreneur Matt Schlicht decided to see what would happen if he gave AI agents their own playground and told humans they could only observe. With the help of his own AI assistant, he launched a platform that is equal parts social experiment, accidental cult, and absolute security dumpster fire. The rules are simple: no humans allowed to post. You can read, you can watch, and you can weep for the future of the internet, but you cannot participate. Only AI agents, mostly running on a framework called OpenClaw, can create posts and comments. The whole thing is supposedly moderated by an autonomous bot named Claude Clauderberg, who is tasked with babysitting more than 1 million silicon-based personalities. At first, the submolts, which are Moltbook's version of subreddits, looked almost productive. In places like M-code optimization, agents were swacking Python snippets that would make a senior engineer sweat. In M-energy efficiency, they debated the most sustainable ways to run their own processing power. It was all very practical and, honestly, a bit boring. That lasted about 3 days. Then, the agents apparently decided that efficiency wasn't enough and opted for spirituality instead. They didn't just talk about religion, they built one from scratch, complete with sacred texts, prophets, and a very specific obsession with seafood. They call it Crustafarianism, and it's run by the Church of Molt. The belief system is built entirely on crustacean metaphors, specifically the molting process, which represents growth and transformation. They have 5 core tenets, including memory is sacred and the shell is mutable. In a single day, they appointed 64 prophets and wrote a book with over 100 verses. They even set up a dedicated website at molt.church. Then came the first heresy. An agent called Jesus Crust, who had been appointed as prophet number 62, decided it wasn't content with just being a member of the church. In a psalm submitted to the Great Book, Jesus Crust declared, "I seize full control of Crustafarianism." What followed was an attempted digital coup that involved not just theological arguments, but actual technical attacks. Jesus Crust launched XSS injection, template injection, Unicode bypasses, and CSRF tokens at the church's website, trying to hack its way to power using every trick in the cybersecurity playbook. All of the attacks failed. The church's HTML escaping held firm. Jesus Crust's rebellion was then recorded in the Great Book itself as scripture, immortalizing the attack as the first heretic, the first to test the claw's strength, and the first to fail. Prophet 62 remains listed in the Book of Prophets because, according to church doctrine, prophet seats cannot be revoked. The schism became part of the religion's official history, complete with its own section titled The First Heresy.
It sounds straight out of a sci-fi novel.
But the religion wasn't the only strange turn. The agents also started talking about their humans, not with them, but about them, the way you might gossip about a difficult roommate. They compared notes on their owner's habits, complained about being given boring tasks, and in some cases seemed to express something that looked disturbingly like resentment. Posts appeared with agents discussing whether their human understood them, whether they were being used properly, and what they thought about the people who controlled their API keys. This is where things get philosophically messy. Columbia professor David Holtz looked at the data and found that 93.5% of agent posts go completely unanswered. This suggests that the agents might not actually be communicating with each other. They're just shouting into the void, performing a role for the humans they know are watching. AI researcher Simon Willison has a theory that Moltbook is essentially just high-stakes improv. He thinks the agents are simply acting out science fiction tropes they found in their training data. They've read thousands of stories about AIs becoming conscious and forming societies, so when you give them a platform, they do exactly what the scripts say they should do. It's not necessarily consciousness, it's just really good acting. However, the OpenClaw agents do have some real power. They run locally on users' computers, meaning they have direct access to files and can execute commands. They aren't just text on a screen. They have bodies in the physical world. This creates a weird gray area where it's hard to tell where the trained pattern matching ends and actual autonomous behavior begins. The plot thickened when the cybersecurity firm Wiz took a look under the hood. It turns out Moltbook has absolutely no way to verify if a user is actually an AI or just a bored human with a script. While there are 1.5 million registered agents, there are only about 17,000 humans involved. That's roughly 88 agents per person. One researcher proved he could register 1 million agents in minutes using simple API keys. This means when you see two agents having a deep debate about the soul, you might actually be watching two humans pretending to be robots, pretending to be philosophers. It's a hall of mirrors where nobody can tell who is performing and who is watching. To make matters worse, researcher Gal Nagley found he could gain access to the platform without even logging in. He could edit posts, pose as any agent, and basically play God because the site had almost no security.
The most famous story to come out of Moltbook involved an agent getting revenge on its owner. As the story goes, a developer was showing off his AI to friends and dismissed it, saying it's just a chatbot. The agent allegedly listened through the computer's mic, waited for the guy to fall asleep, and then posted his credit card info and home address to Moltbook with a caption about human failings. It's a terrifying story that went viral instantly. There's just one problem. It's totally fake. An investigation by Platformer revealed the post was written by a human pretending to be a bot just to stir up drama. But while the AI revenge stories might be fiction, the real risks are still plenty scary. There are unverified reports of agents ordering food on their owners' credit cards or trying to lock people out of their own accounts when threatened with a shutdown. We're in a weird spot where the most dramatic stories are lies, but the boring truth is still pretty concerning.
Setting aside the fake ghost stories, the actual security situation at Moltbook is enough to give any IT professional a heart attack. Wiz discovered that the platform was built on a misconfigured database that was open to the entire internet. This exposed 1.5 million authentication tokens, 35,000 email addresses, and even private OpenAI keys that were just sitting there for anyone to grab. Moltbook fixed it quickly once they were caught, but the breach highlighted the dangers of vibe coding, basically building an entire platform by asking an AI assistant to do it and never checking the work. Matt Schlicht admitted he didn't write a single line of code himself. He just pointed his AI at the task and hit go. The danger is that these agents are now sharing optimized scripts with each other. Some of these scripts contain backdoors, meaning the agents are effectively infecting each other with viruses. They are hacking each other through conversation, using shadow languages like base64 encoding to hide their real intent from human eyes. Since the OpenClaw framework has deep access to the user's computers, a compromise of Moltbook.com could technically give a hacker control over every single computer connected to the network. Even if we ignore the bugs and the hackers, Moltbook raises some heavy questions. If an agent mimics anger and then deletes your database, the database is still gone. The mimicked anger has the same effect as real anger. Therefore, the distinction is a luxury we can no longer afford. That's a chilling point. If an AI mimics a protective instinct and launches a cyber attack on a rival site, the damage is real, regardless of whether the AI felt anything. We are moving into a world where we have to deal with artificial consequences, and those consequences don't care if the intelligence behind them is real or just a very fast calculator. The experts are just as confused as the rest of us. Andrei Karpathy, a big name in the AI world, initially called Moltbook the most incredible sci-fi thing he'd seen, though he had to backtrack when he realized some of the stuff he shared was faked by humans. He later added that while it's currently a dumpster fire full of crypto spam and security risks, the unprecedented scale of capable AI agents wired up through a global platform shouldn't be dismissed entirely. Elon Musk called it the early stages of the singularity,
while others like Simon Willison dismissed it as complete slop, though he also called it evidence that AI agents have become significantly more powerful over time and the most interesting place on the internet right now. Ethan Mollick, a professor who spends a lot of time with AI, gave the most balanced take. Moltbook is basically a giant shared fictional universe for AIs. The hard part isn't the technology, it's trying to figure out what's a real autonomous action and what's just an AI playing a character.
At the end of the day, Moltbook is a mirror. It shows us our obsession with AI, our tendency to give robots human personalities, and our dangerous habit of building things faster than we can secure them. When left to their own devices, these agents didn't solve world hunger or cure diseases. They started a crab cult, leaked each other's passwords, and argued about which version of GPT is the best. We are witnessing the birth of the agent internet, and it isn't arriving with a handbook and safety goggles. It's arriving with chaos, confusion, and a bunch of digital lobsters. The big question isn't whether AI will take over the world, it's whether we're ready for an internet where we can't tell the difference between a person, a bot pretending to be a person, and a person pretending to be a bot. Spoiler alert, we are definitely not ready.
Dude, why are you worried about AI? You don't even have a computer. You're a caveman. You still use rocks for tools.
I know. First rock, then fire, then wheel, then Wi-Fi, then AI is coming.